Hey, and welcome to Lena Listens. My name is Lena, coming to y'all with my thoughts and reviews about the JBP. All right, y'all, for starters, I totally understand why episode 870 was dropped early, hella early, I might add, but I like that. I also understand why this episode was titled Hour 2. I want to start off by covering the gang addressing some things that occurred after Mark and Flip's viral moment, and then we'll get back to the recap and thoughts. Just so y'all know, you're gonna be laughing early in the pod. This was a funny episode, but once we got to the top of hour 2, that's when Joe and the gang did some straightening. So, a quick recap. The Native Land Pod has some choice words about the JBP and the viral argument between Mark and Flip. And of course, I took a moment to check out what the Native Land Pod had to say about this particular subject matter. And what I gathered from their thoughts are pretty much how can you have or be so sure and opinionated about a show you don't watch or listen to regularly or at all. I understand Mark is their friend, but if you don't have the full-on context about how and why these fellas got to this place, then what do you have? Internet clips? I will say, Andrew and Bakari were able to provide a different perspective for Angela and Tiffany. The guys were on the side of bridging the two worlds and creating a safe space, basically for non-intellectuals to learn and comfortably ask questions to the folks who are deemed intellectual. Here's the clip that really stood out to me. Check it out.
You know what I wish we had started with, and I know we're wrapping this topic up. I wish we would have started with what we think we heard in the exchange. You know, just a little interpretation of what the fight was about. Because I actually didn't. What I will say is, I didn't think that there were fancy words dividing what each of them understood the other to be saying.
I was more so on the sides of Andrew and Bakari, because totally dismissing someone because they're not intellectually in tune with you, that's just, I don't know, like, that's the time to inform and educate, especially if your beliefs are to uplift and provide beneficial resources, etc. The title of the video was clickbaity. I get it. Internet games, it gets people talking. It got us talking. We're talking about it literally. And before anyone jump in the comments, I'm not discrediting or taking away from their actual issue. It seems they use this moment to introduce the real issue, which is anti-intellectualism in our community as a whole, and the major uptick of AI usage versus reading and studying the whole nine. Mark and Flip were the examples, and I don't think that's necessarily fair, especially because they don't know Flip in real life. Now, with all this being said, I commend Joe and the gang for addressing this the way that they did. And if we know anything, when Joe gets into full rant mode, he's going to have some major points and he isn't going to hold back. Everyone in the JBP community knows very well that Mark being added to the pod was a great idea for many reasons, and both Joe and Mark share their sentiments about it during this segment. Joe said he wants and needs Mark there. He learns from him and he loves him. The guys agreed, all of them. Brotherly love, if you ask me. I know they begin on each other sometimes, but at least they were able to come together and protect the house as one. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I always say that everyone up there brings their own flavor to the pod, and it works. Everyone has their thing. Mark made some great points as well, and here's one of them. To your point,
like, I got fired by CNN in 2018. No,
ain't nobody call.
Things wasn't calling. You know what I mean? It's almost like that. It's almost like that. What Big Over thing I was talking about before. It's like all y'all mad that I'm with this person, but none of y'all want to date me. You know what I mean? And so it's like
Parks made a great point too. They're an entertainment podcast. And with there being so many different pods out here, you can literally get what you need from other pods. There's a podcast out here for every itch. I agree with this because I too listen to other podcasts as well. And I'm pretty sure most of y'all do. We all do. At some point, we have to accept that there can be a balance on the pod. And this statement isn't necessarily for us in the JPP community, no. It's more so for the folks who are just casual listeners, the passerbyers, if you will, who doesn't understand the dynamics up there. Mark mentioned that he was the one who wrote a little scrappy on the topic board for this episode, and people who aren't in tune with the pod are probably thinking, oh my gosh, they're turning Mark out up there. If and when they hear him discuss anything else that isn't in the realm of politics and activism, they're going to have these critiques. They're going to have these ideas like, oh man, like what's happening to Mark up there? But that can be the furthest thing from the truth. I don't know, y'all. Like, you can equally be yoked. Who said intellectuals can't have fun? Who said intellectuals can't have other dialogues? Like, come on. I knew this blow up was going to be taken out of context once I saw everyone and their mom was covering it. But Joe said something that made me say, yep, you're right. Check it out.
And thank God there was a black-owned, independent media company there to pick up our good brother when he was misunderstood by other outlets.
Talk about it.
Why is that part not being said by pro-black native land people? I'm getting confused.
Yeah,
Mark was a free agent.
The guys went on to defend Flip, and I just said in the comments of a video of mine that I bet Ish put on his OG hat to talk to the guys after that blow up. I liked how Ish was standing up for Flip. I liked how they were able to run down Flip's accomplishments. Ish said that the NLP leaned into the worst viral moment and are playing the game too, them structuring their argument around the moment to gain more clips. Again, it's probably Clip City now because so many people are talking about it. And I know they be getting on Flip up there sometimes, but this whole thing is equivalent to the saying, I can talk about my family member, you can't. They wrote at dawn for Flip. Flip expressed his thoughts as well about the whole thing. When Joe said if it's about y'all, it's about me. Lie and say that wasn't a bar. One band, one sound, y'all. I wanted to take a moment out to ice on this segment because I took time out to do the same for the blow up. So, I just figured I give it the same grace. I give it the same type of coverage. I'm glad they had the moment to address some things. All of them were. Do y'all think they handled this correctly? If you saw the Native Land Pod episode, what were your thoughts? Let me know. Moving on to some other key takeaways from this episode, there were laughs all the way through, and not me hitting a 1-2 when they played the tricky verse.
That's tricky to you. Tricky. Yeah, that's tricky to you. That's tricky to you. That's tricky to you. It's tricky to you. Tricky words. Tricky. Hey. Tricky words. Tricky words. Tricky words. Hey. Tricky words with more flip.
All through the first hour, they kept hitting that hour 2. They kept hitting at that hour 2, and I bet some folks skipped right to that second hour mark because they were impatient. I honestly like how the guys addressed the Native Land Pod. They said what they said. The solidarity was felt on this episode. Joe's rant was warranted. Flip's moment was too. Don't come in here trying to tussle with me about my honest opinion that we're all allowed to have. I like that although they had to address some things, they were able to joke about it too. When Joe said to Flip, stop being Mr. Serious because they're playing on your intelligence. That was a funny moment. Parks was spiffier than usual for this episode. It was his birthday. This was his B-Day pod. Shout out to him. And also, Joe mentioned an idea, and of course, I want to know what's y'all thoughts about it. Would y'all pay to watch them have an organized fight? And to spread a little bit of messy on it, not too much on me. I typically stay away from the mess, but who would y'all like to see them have an organized fight with if they were to organize something like this? Also, while we're on the subject of paying for things, what are y'all thoughts about the Patreon increase coming January 1? What type of content do y'all think we're going to get, if any changes? And as a $25 and up, $25 and some change Patroni myself, I'm curious to see what the next price would be. All in all, this was a great pod, you guys. Mona will be back next week, they said. They covered an array of different topics, set some things straight, and had Victor Solomon at the end of the episode. As always, please feel free to drop your thoughts and key takeaways in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're feeling the content. Until next time, y'all. Bye.